they talking real loud. Spreading no lie, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Poppin' till it's swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules. In this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no lie, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Poppin' till it's swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules. In this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no lie, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Poppin' till it's swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules. In this concrete jungle where nobody
knows why liars lie. Winners are not allowed to allow losers to rewrite history. It's God's side and the other side. Country bumpkin, black dude that can't talk good, Uber bitch, and look like Mr. Potato Head.
I didn't want to be a movie star.
No, you couldn't be a movie star. Ricky Smiley can't act, cause Ricky Smiley can't act. Why is he in a dress again? He didn't be wanting to party, and you gotta tell him no. Said ain't got no special, you remember? Eve ain't got no special, you remember? Ricky ain't got no special, you remember? Sir, I have 12 comedy specials. P. Diddy or whoever you is, TVJ, 20 of them. I won't stop burning you down until there ain't nothing left. Rubble on top of rubble, and I'll still be bombing. Look like a wall, Richard. Look like a wall. You didn't say no. Look like a wall, Richard. Look like a wall. You didn't say no.
All right. Hello, everyone. Grand Rising. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr._A_Shakur and X at DGoddess27. And as per usual, if you don't like what the Queen is cooking, you already know what to do. Okay. So with that all being said, before we get started, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes Hair Oil at Etsy.com just to look for Lisa Crafts, and you can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, so let's get into it. First things first, let's talk about Diddy real quick. Let's talk about Diddy. Okay, and let's see who's out here. Hey, Christopher, Nessie X, 504, Nola. All right, Most Hated Bronze, Flat Power God, Nicole. All right, let's get into it. Everybody, please hit that like button. That's how you can support the stream absolutely for free. Okay, so that all being said, All Hell Nah is in the house. Lawyer is here. Nina, Nessa G. Okay, Panther Strike. All Hell No, I said you already. Okay, so where's my other moderators? My old moderators. I see my new moderators in here. Where's the old ones? All right, Nubian Cutie's in the house. Nina Ware. Okay, so let's get into it. Everybody hit the like button. Hey, Auntie Leah. Okay, Hot Cocoa is in the house. Edward is here. Okay, so shout out to my new moderators. Some people asked to be moderators yesterday. I made some of you moderators. I didn't need as many as people volunteered. So I got the people that are mostly in the chat. Okay, mostly the ones I see in the chat on a regular basis is who I gave the riches to. Okay, so with that all being said, welcome aboard. Okay, so listen, let's talk about Diddy, honey, because Diddy was sitting up in court. Seems like he was flirting if you ask the queen. Diddy mouthed 3-word question to pregnant reporter at trial. Not a pregnant reporter. A reporter, let's talk about it. Sean Diddy Combs is set to begin trial Monday in his S-trafficking case, with jury selection taking place all this week. The 55-year-old rapper and hip-hop executive is accused of ex-trafficking, obstruction of justice, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, etc. We already know, okay, for a span of over 2 decades. And of course, he denies all of these things. Now, much has been made of the Bad Boy Records founder's appearance and behavior in court this week. Multiple reports have described Combs as engaging with all of his lawyers and very alert, okay, noting that he seems, excuse me, to have aged markedly in his time behind bars and is sporting a graying, almost white hair and beard. Now, on Wednesday, Fox 5 News, New York's Michelle Ross described Diddy's daily routine, saying he greets everyone from his defense team with a handshake or a hug, and before scanning the room to see if he recognizes any faces. Despite the serious nature of his trial, Combs' charismatic personality still pops out. Diddy just can't hide it, honey. They said Diddy is charismatic. Please pay attention. So she says she provided them with an example. She detailed how the music mogul addressed her being 7 months pregnant on the job. She said, we all had to get up before the jury walked in. I'm 7 months pregnant. I'm very visibly pregnant. And when I stood up, Diddy and I were in a clear view of each other. And he mouthed to me, how are you? That's just another example of how observant he's been throughout jury selection thus far. Jury selection is scheduled to end on Friday, with 12 jurors and 6 alternates being locked in. Yesterday's proceedings included the elimination of several prospective jurors. Ross reported that a man who graduated from Mount St. Michael Academy decades before Combs, he was let go. So that's obviously the school that Diddy went to, because remember, Diddy went to a private Catholic school. I think it was for all boys. Yeah, it was. So as well as a woman who said that she saw the video of Combs and his former girlfriend. So those 2 people were excused. Now, a second woman with ties to the music industry was also dismissed. And according to TMZ, a possible juror was sent home because he worked at the jail Diddy has been housed in. Okay, opening statements for the trial are set for Monday, y'all. It's about to go down. Okay, so what do y'all think? So I could see, hey, Elder Barbara Rashawn live, peace and blessings. Okay, so I could see why they allowed this person who went to his school to leave, because they probably figured that, you know, maybe he would have some kind of he would feel like he had some kind of something in common with Diddy, or maybe. Okay, so maybe he would rule in Diddy's favor, vote in Diddy's favor. It's probably what they thought. And the other person who used to work there, well, they might think that's a conflict of interest. Okay, so now they say the trial has gone into complete chaos since the key witness has gone missing. Okay, now I told you all that I've been telling you for like a month now. You heard it here first. That I said that I believe the witness, or the so-called victim 3, was Gina Hoon. And then somebody told me, somebody who knows her pretty well out there in Vegas, said that she was basically passed around, and she's been dating some of these celebrities, and they mentioned Trey Songz. Now I can't substantiate it, but they said she dated Trey Songz and all of this, and she feels like it would be a bad look for her to be in there talking greasy about Diddy and testifying. It's got snitch. It's given snitch behavior, and they said she didn't want to do it. She didn't want to be labeled a snitch because then that might dry up her money and resources from these celebrities that she hangs out with when they're in Vegas. Now, like I said, I can't prove any of this, so just take it with a grain of salt. That's all I'm telling you. But they know this girl pretty good. And I'm not going to tell you how they know her, but they know her pretty good. Okay, so with that all being said, Diddy's trial thrown into chaos as key witness goes missing. So a star witness with Sean Diddy Combs' trial is reportedly MIA, throwing the disgraced bad boy mogul's trafficking case into chaos. Yeah, the prosecution is scrambling. Okay, they already didn't have a rock solid case as far as I'm concerned. And at the end of the day, they need everything they can get. So them losing a key witness, not just any old witness, but a key witness, that's going to be very detrimental to them. Now, opening statements are set to begin next week, but federal prosecutors have been left scrambling. So they can't find one of the female victims who is central to their case. She does not live in New York, where Combs' trial is being held. Now, lead prosecutor Maureen Comey told U.S. District Judge Arun Subramaniam on Wednesday that they're having a difficult time contacting victim 3 and her attorney even. Prosecutors had mentioned victim 3 plans to disclose very personal and explosive details concerning abuse that she allegedly suffered under Combs. Well, she changed her mind, honey. Just move on with the case and do the best you can. Now, Comey told the judge that even if they're able to reach the unnamed victim, she may not show up. Well, she may not show up, okay? But here's the thing. If you make her come, we already know that's not going to be good either, because like I told you all plenty of times, when people don't want to testify and then they're forced to do so, that's a hostile witness. And you cannot rely on a hostile witness to help build your case, okay? Because you don't know what they might get up there and say. They could say something to sabotage the entire case, okay? And then, of course, they're likely going to come off as hostile, as if they don't want to be there, okay? So please pay attention. So anyway, they said she might not show up even if they do find her. And it's interesting that they can't get in touch with even her attorney. She's probably told her attorney, honey, if they call you, don't even answer the phone. So defense attorney Teeny Garagos demanded that the prosecution make a decision by the end of the week on whether they still plan to call victim 3 to testify. Now, the prosecution's admission that they cannot reach one of their star witnesses came as a shock after they told the judge on April the 29th in a memo that victim 3 did not wish to even use a pseudonym in her testimony. Do you all remember when I reported that? That's what I thought was so interesting. Then all of a sudden she's gone missing, because this is the same victim that said that she knew that the public already knew who she was. She's already spoken out before, and that basically she didn't want to be under a pseudonym. She would gladly say her name, okay, have her name put out there. So this is why they're so shocked. Now, prosecutors filed a third superseded indictment in April that added an additional charge of trafficking and transportation to engage in prostitution related to victim 3. But also, I want you all to remember what I told you all about 2 weeks ago, okay, that an insider told me that even one of the workers that the prosecution was trying to get decided to go with the defense, okay? So their case is falling apart at the seams. They're going to try to keep up the facade and make it look like everything's all gravy, but really it isn't. Okay, it looks like Diddy may have them up against the ropes. So unless they can pull out some serious receipts, this may not go the way they want. Okay, I just want you all to be prepared for Diddy to walk up out of there. And even if he doesn't, again, Diddy is definitely going to file an appeal. And in filing that appeal, I promise you, he has a whole lot of things working in his favor. Okay, that's just the fact. That's why every time I've been reporting on things that his lawyers are filing petitions, declarations, motions, and all of this, I was constantly telling you what of these things could be used for his appeal. So how many times have I told you all different things that they're stacking up? So they've got a lot of evidence for an appeal regardless. Okay, and they even have the prior bad acts thing going on, like with Weinstein retrial. Okay, because they're doing the same thing that the people did and Weinstein's trial. And I don't know why they would be allowing in prior bad acts when they should all know, the prosecution, that is, the six-pack of white women, okay, as Mark Garagos loves to call them. Well, they should know why Harvey Weinstein, why his conviction was overturned, and now he's back at trial again, okay? So anyway, Combs is facing a total of 5 counts, including racketeering, trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. They say these are not new allegations or new accusers. This is what the defense said. Okay, these are the same individuals, former long-term girlfriends, who were involved in a consensual relationship with Combs. This was their private life, defined by consent or not coercion. And let me tell you all something else. Here's the thing. If, in fact, victim 3 were to even show up, how credible would the jury think that her testimony is? Okay. Does the jury know that the prosecutors can't find her at this point? Okay. Anyway, so the trial's been thrown into chaos. They can't get the amount of jurors. Now, they expected, mind you, this is how you know that they're having difficulties, because they expected to have the jury picked by Wednesday. Okay. Then Mark Garagos said he thought it would be until Thursday, but here we are Friday. Still not done. Okay. Still not done. Okay. So Nicole says, Diddy says the system knows the system too well, and he knows how to pull these stupid people's strings. He won't stay locked up. Okay. He just might not, beloved. Panther Strike says, Queen, you saw from the very beginning of this trial was messy. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. All right. So anyway, with that all being said, now this is what a woman said. She says she was a music exec. Hold on. Yeah, she was a music executive, and she says that women were forced to pick survival over consent in the music industry. This is what she says. So jury selection for musician and businessman Sh0t Diddy Combs' trafficking trial concluded on May the 7th. The judge questioned almost 100 possible jurors based on their own personal biases related to abuse and assault, as well as their perception of Combs. Now, Combs has been in custody since September 2024 on the charges of trafficking, transport. Okay, I'm not going to keep reading that over and over, but Tyre Nichols, that's her name, Tyre Nichols, CEO and founder of Friends at Work management firm, told Morning Edition that women have for decades had to face the challenges of a toxic music industry culture. She says there are times when she believes she's attending a job interview, but instead she's taken to a restaurant, not an office, and they would hand a hotel key. Okay, now inferring, that they would offer her a job position in exchange for sex. Do y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this? Now, let me tell y'all something. I'm going to go ahead and call BS. Now, I'm not going to say they don't do that, because of course they do. Of course they do. And not just in the music industry, not just in Hollywood. You know, I'm sure they do that at other good paying jobs that perhaps might be in corporate America. But here's the thing. Here is the thing. For these women and men who engage in acts that they claim they don't want to, because somebody promised them a job opportunity, or just so they could get a job opportunity, honey, that's you. That's where you lack in morals. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care what job it was. If you come out your mouth saying that I got to do this, that, and the third to get the job, I'm out of there real quick. Okay. And I'm going to try to get you to say it again so I can record you this time for proof and receipts. And then I'm going to sue you. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, and don't play games because y'all know I've done it before. I already told you all how I sued that company when they were letting that white supervisor constantly harass me on a daily basis. Okay, I sued them. They didn't even want to go to court because I had all the receipts. Okay, but nonetheless, they settled. And see, that's what you do. So, see, here's the thing with me. I don't want to be judgmental, but at the same time, I don't have a whole lot of empathy for people who use the excuse, oh, I needed my job. You can find another damn job. Okay, so miss me with it. And if you drop your morals in the trash can and go do the do just so you can get hired or just so you can stay hired, that's on you. Don't cry foul now. Don't come out talking about Sh0t. Don't do it because you voluntarily did it. Whether or not you were persuaded or coerced, you chose to do it. You could have said no. You could have turned down the job. You could have gone elsewhere. But some of these people, they want to use that as their crutch. I'm not here for it. Okay? I'm not here for it because at the end of the day, honey, I would have been out of there so fast. And if you chose to sit there and then you said, okay, well, this is what I'm going to do to keep this job or to get this job, that's on you. You see, the thing of it is this, please pay attention. You know, one of the main reasons I would never do that, because first of all, I have morals, okay? And I don't believe in just laying around, sleeping around with people unless I'm all in love, okay? So definitely that's not gonna work for me. But the other thing is this, what if you go through all of that, let somebody have their way with you, give you the job, and then months later they fire you, okay? They fire you. Then what? Then you just look like a fool. And clearly you should feel like one. Okay, so that's just idiotic to me. It's just like during the pandemic when they were telling people, oh, get the venom, get the venom. And then some people said they were forced to get it because of their job. Honey, I would have quit that job if I didn't want to get it. You're not going to make me do a damn thing when you're talking about a job because jobs can always be taken from you. You don't have to leave or resign. They can fire you. They can do anything to get rid of you. So with that all being said, honey, when you make your decisions, it would behoove you to make them wisely. Okay, so I didn't have any sympathy for this. Sorry, I don't. Okay, so with that all being said, Sh0t actually wrote an op-ed in the New York Times in October of 2024. It was titled, "The Music Industry is Toxic After P. Diddy." She says, we can clean it up. She says, we can clean it up, in which the article relieves an alarming situation. I think it should have said relives, but it says relieves. But anyway, okay, so an alarming situation that she says she encountered in her early 20s at a job or at a party that Combs hosted on a yacht. She explains how she was lured to a room on the yacht by an associate of Combs's. Okay, he then locked the door behind him in an attempt to keep Sh0t in the room. She was able to convince him to let her out by shouting and explaining to him that her brother was also in attendance at this party and that he's going to be looking for her. Now, since then, or since the release of her article, several women within the music industry have come to her with similar experiences. Many of them were either scared to come forward due to fear of retaliation, or they were forced to sign non-disclosure agreements. You can miss me with that too, saying forced. Nobody's going to force you to sign a non-disclosure agreement. What are you talking about? They put a gun to your head? Did they say, did they put a rope around your neck? I mean, what did they do to force you to sign it? You couldn't say no. See, I want y'all to pay attention. Listen, let's get into it. Now, some of you all are not going to like what I'm saying. Some of you are going to say that I'm victim blaming and shaming. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not talking about people that are actual victims. Because to me, if you decide to do something so you can get a particular job, you're not a victim. You put yourself right there and you accepted what was offered and you took it. So please don't cry foul. Okay, please don't cry foul. That's all I'm saying. Let's just keep it real at the end of the day. Okay? Because the bottom line is, if you're a grown and consenting adult, you don't have to, nobody can tell you what to do unless they're your boss, right? Nobody can tell you what to do unless they're your boss, right? Okay? I'm talking about as far as work, stuff that pertains to delegating your, doing your task that you're delegated to do, that you are hired to do, is what I'm saying. But when these people come out here saying that, oh, they told me I had to do it or I was going to lose my job. No, you did it to keep that job because that's how bad you wanted it. That's how bad you wanted it. And see, here's the thing. I'm an assertive person. I've always been assertive. I'm very aggressive. I don't mean like somebody who's fighting or violent. I mean like this. You're not going to talk to me crazy and get away with it. You're not going to disrespect me and think it's okay. And I'm not going to say nothing to defend myself. Okay? So you're not going to put me in that type of situation and get away with it. You're going to get sued. Right then and there. I'm not going to wait 20 years. I'm going to sue you as soon as you do it. And that's what I did. So here's the thing I want you all to pay attention to. You see, there are some people in life who are weak. They're cowards. They don't stand up for themselves. Okay? They're submissive. And so those people may be too timid to say no or to speak up. But at the end of the day, that's your own fault. Okay? Toughen up, buttercup. That's all I have to say. At the end of the day, if you don't want to do something, if you don't want to compromise your integrity, then just say no. All right? Just say no. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, let me continue. I just went on a whole rant. So they said they were forced to sign non-disclosure agreements. These are women in positions of power, she says. I think part of it is we have to talk about NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. I think they play a huge role. I know many men and women who've been threatened with the end of their careers that they spoke up. Exactly. NDAs have been signed. They're signing away their truth in exchange for basic rights like song ownership or fair play. That silence wasn't consent. It was survival. No, it wasn't. It was consent. If you signed the non-disclosure, you signed it because you wanted to. Now, I want you to pay attention. She said it was for survival. No, you can simply say no. And here's the thing. These people that talk about they had to sign non-disclosures, did they not know that assault and sexual harassment are not covered under non-disclosures? Non-disclosures don't cover for crimes. Okay? They don't cover for crimes. So if someone does something to you that is sexual assault, sexual harassment, or whatever, you can absolutely report that whether you sign the non-disclosure or not. Okay, so they're not making any sense as far as I'm concerned. It just seems to me that this lady is, trying to make everybody a victim. People who just compromise their own integrity are not the victim. That's just how I see it. Now, y'all can agree or not. I'm just telling you what I think. So anyway, with that all being said, I'm not going to read all of this, but she did do an interview with someone named Michael Martin, who said that, who was asking about, you actually wrote about your experience at a party thrown by Diddy, this, that, the third. Okay, and she talks about what happened on the yacht. So anyway, I'm not going to get into all that. I just had to tell you what I thought about it, period. Now, let's talk about Smokey Robinson. Let's talk about it because Smokey came out and said something about these allegations that have been levied and waged against him. Smokey Robinson denies assault allegations. Now, Motown legend Smokey Robinson has denied allegations of assault that were made by several former employees. In a lawsuit filed on Tuesday, 4 female housekeepers accused the singer-songwriter of sexual battery, including rape, plus false imprisonment and a number of labor violations. Now, in a statement to the BBC, Robinson's attorney, Christopher Frost, called the allegations vile and false. As this case progresses, the evidence, the crucial element that guides us, will show that this is simply an ugly method of trying to extract money from an 85-year-old American icon, $50 million to be exact. Okay, so he allowed his attorney to release the statement. Now, Robinson was Motown's first hit maker, writing a number of hits, number one hits, that is, for people like Mary Wells, My Guy, and The Temptations, My Girl. Did any of you know that he wrote those songs? Because I know probably most of you just know him from the Miracles or thought he was just singing with that group. Now, he was both a talent scout for the record label and one of its most prominent recording artists in his own right. Known for songs like Tracks of My Tears, Shop Around, and Tears of a Clown, he has spots in both the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Songwriters Hall of Fame. He claims to have credits on more than 4,000 songs. His second wife, Frances, was also named in Tuesday's lawsuit, which claimed that he or she contributed to a hostile work environment and failed to stop Robinson's alleged sexual misconduct. Now, the women are suing under the pseudonyms Jane Doe's 1, 2, 3, and 4 due to sexual misconduct allegations, including rape, being leveled against the musician. Now, in the 27-page lawsuit, they detail several incidents dating all the way back to 2006. Well, we already know about that because I read you all the entire lawsuit, or most of it, but all 4 women are of Hispanic descent, and they said they had not come forward until now because they feared losing their livelihood, familial reprisal, or embarrassment. Okay, that's no excuse either. Like I told you all, losing your livelihood. Who wants to, first of all, who wants to work at a place where you're constantly being assaulted or raped? What kind of job is that? Do you all see how this makes no sense? I mean, this is likely their excuse, but I'm just saying, think about this. Think about this. You're going to work and this is what's happening to you, but you're scared to lose the job. Are you that desperate for money? Let me tell you something. I would go outside, stand in the middle of traffic with a cup and collect coins if I had to before I did it. This doesn't make any sense. Why would you want to stay there? I would be ready to leave. Okay. Post haste. All right. But anyway, and then people could say, oh, they were worried about, immigration status or whatever. Listen, whatever you're worried about, you should be more worried about somebody physically taking advantage of you and doing things that you know and they know are illegal and things that you did not consent to. So anyway, no police reports or criminal charges have been filed against the musician. Yeah, and how come any of these people never go to the police? Don't y'all find it suspicious that none of these people who claim they've been so abused sexually never bother to go to the police? They just go and file a civil lawsuit for cash. Okay, y'all don't ever think that's interesting. Let me tell y'all something else too before I forget. Okay, so, back in the day when I was growing up, and in high school and stuff, I would hear grown people, adults talking about how some women sleep their way to the top. You see, that's what people are still doing. But now the women don't want to admit that they slept their way to the top. So now it's assault. Oh, I had to do it because I needed my job. You slept your way to the top. Get over it. That's what you did. You slept your way to the top. Okay. Plenty of women have done it. That's what it is. But now they want to act like, it is a misogynistic workplace environment, I'm sure, in Hollywood and the music industry, but you still have the right and the ability to say no. Okay. If you don't, you can't say that you didn't sleep your way to the top if you get one of those positions based off of what you did in the bedroom. Am I going too hard in the paint? Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know, honey, because I know some of y'all might be ticked off. Panther Strike says, money is so enticing, especially when you can point the finger at a black man. Exactly. This is the new grift, okay? Assaults, accusing people. This is the new grift. The grift used to be going out here getting pregnant by a celebrity, somebody who has all this cash. But now they don't have to go out here and get pregnant. All they can do is voluntarily have relations with somebody and then lie and say it was something else. Now, of course, there are some real victims who actually are assaulted. Don't get me wrong. There are people who are great, okay, men and women. But there are some who voluntarily do things and then it doesn't turn out the way they want it, and here's what they do. I mean, Sh0t, for example. Sh0t, for example. Okay, let's talk about Gabrielle Zuniga. Now, she was voluntarily sleeping with Shannon and doing all that stuff, okay, engaging in the BDSM and all that stuff. She was asking Shannon for a baby. Oh, give me your baby gravy. I want to have your big black baby. First of all, who talks about a child like that? Who talks about a child like that? I mean, she's acting like the child wasn't even going to be hers, literally. Like it wasn't going to come from her to give me your big black baby. Okay, that just all sounds nefarious. But here's the thing, and we know that she said it because we read the text messages, okay? So then when Shannon didn't give her the big black baby or the baby gravy, and then she hears that video of Shannon having relations with somebody on Instagram, now she's mad. Now she wants money because I've been sleeping with your big black self all this time and I ain't really getting enough out of it that I wanted. And then you're messing around with other women. You might be giving them the baby gravy. So I got to get something out of the deal. So I'm going to set him up. I think that's exactly how that went down. But hey, that's just me and my little opinion. Okay, please pay attention. So anyway, the women's lawyers held a press conference on Tuesday accusing Robinson of being a serial and sick rapist who must be stopped. Do y'all hear how they're talking about Smokey Robinson? A serial and sick rapist who must be stopped. Like he's out here on the hunt, on the prowl, just going from one place to another, lurking in the dark behind trees and bushes, waiting for victims that he can approach and pounce on. Do y'all hear this? It's all so dramatic. You're not going to make me think that an 85-year-old man locked you in a room, held you down, and did all of these things to you without you trying to at least fight back or anything. I'm not going to believe that unless and only if you show me receipts. I'm going to have to see receipts. Okay, I'm going to have to see receipts. I'm going to tell you another thing that we as Black people need to stop doing. We need to stop automatically assuming that all of these Black men are guilty, because all of them are not. Look at Jay-Z. Now, I'm not saying Jay-Z hasn't done anything nefarious in his life, but what he was accused of recently by Tony Busby and Jane Doe, well, he obviously didn't do that. We caught her in all kinds of lies. But some people tried so desperately grasping at straws just to make it that Jay-Z absolutely did it. Okay? Now make that make sense. We need to stop siding with you can't believe all victims. Anybody who says that, you're an idiot. You cannot believe all victims. There's many people who lie. I've had some of them on my show and interviewed them, and we knew that they were lying before they even got here. And y'all know it. Okay? So we're going to need to see proof and receipts. And we know that there's a history of some people lying on Black men anyway. And there's a history of people sending women to Black men to try and take them down. They did it to Bill Cosby. There was a model that came out, and I don't remember her name, but she said all the way back in the 80s, these men came to her and they were offering her $5,000 to get Bill Cosby's bodily fluids. And then she said no, they came back and offered her $10,000. Okay? I mean, just think back to the Bible stories of Samson and Delilah. Okay, please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, I'm going to leave it right there. Bottom line is Smokey's denying it. His lawyers gave a statement. They're saying he didn't do it, and evidence will come out to show and verify that. So we will just have to wait and see. But only until I see proof and receipts, I'm giving Smokey Robinson the benefit of the doubt. Period. Giving him the benefit of the doubt. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about these stories. Oh, my Lord. What is going on here? I want you all to pay attention. Let's get into the story where a black man shot a white teenager whom he thought was breaking in his house. Turns out that supposedly they say they were doing a TikTok prank. When will people learn about these pranks? When will they learn? Okay, and I don't even know for a fact they were doing a prank. Okay, I don't know if that's even they were telling the truth. But so let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Okay, I'm going to share the screen.
An investigation into a weekend shooting in Spotsylvania County. The entire community is debating the details of the case where 3 teenagers accused of breaking and entering a home on Mackenzie Lane were shot at. 2 of the teens were shot. One of them, a high school senior, killed. Northern Virginia Bureau reporter Drew Wilder explains why this story is drawing so much debate.
Is this the case of a homeowner defending their property legally against potential burglars? Or is this a case of a TikTok prank gone horribly wrong? Maybe it's even a little bit of both. These are the questions prosecutors here at the Spotsylvania County Courthouse are trying to answer tonight. And at the heart of all of this mystery and all of the speculation taking place on social media, a teenager is dead. And his family tells me that their lives feel shattered. 18-year-old Michael Bosworth Jr. was a senior at Massaponax High School in Spotsy. His stepfather says Michael played lacrosse, football, and he wrestled. But at about 3 a.m. Saturday, just hours before the high school prom later that night, Michael was shot and killed by a homeowner on Mackenzie Lane. The homeowner, who has not been named nor charged with any crime, says Michael and 2 other teens tried to break into their house. News 4 knocked on the door of the home, but no one answered. Tonight, the Spotsylvania County Commonwealth's attorney is reviewing the evidence to determine if charges are appropriate or if this was a justifiable shooting. But here's where this story takes a turn. So there were 3 teens involved. Michael was shot and killed. A second teen, 17 years old, was grazed by a bullet. While that teen was in the hospital, detectives interviewed him. He said, "We weren't breaking in to try to steal anything." He told the detective they were doing ding-dong ditch pranks.
Okay, how do we know that's what they were really doing? He said they were doing ding-dong ditch pranks. Excuse me, if that had been black teenagers, do you think the police would have just gone for that? Do you? One's in the chat. If that had been black teenagers at somebody's door and one of them got shot because somebody thought they were breaking in, do you think that the police would actually believe that the black teens were just simply doing a prank? I guarantee you they would. Okay? I guarantee you they would. And if they were trying to break in or do something nefarious, do you think they would admit that to the police? Come on now. I'm not saying they're lying. I'm just saying it's amazing to me how the police take the words of people who look like them very quick.
Recording them as videos, they were going to post them on TikTok. So that detective went and found the third teen that was involved. That teen wasn't shot. He wasn't injured in any way. But that teen had the exact same alibi and even said, "Here, take my cell phone. You'll find a video that we recorded at a different house doing the same prank earlier that night." The Spotsylvania County Sheriff's Office has not said whether or not that alibi checks out, but of course, we'll let you know as soon as we learn more. Reporting in Spotsy, Drew Wilder, News 4.
What if your roof could pay you back?
Now, until their alibi checks out, it's up in the air for me. Okay? It's up in the air for me. Okay, Stephen Johnson said you can rob a bank and say it was a joke, LOL, to get off. I mean, like I said, honey, until I see the proof and receipts, okay, at the end of the day, that's just hearsay, as far as I'm concerned. Now, let's go to this next report about it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you, Chance. And if it was a TikTok prank, that should be a lesson learned for anybody else that's doing these dumb pranks, because I get sick of seeing it. These people out here harassing people, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, you come and try to prank me, I'm pressing charges, okay, for harassment.
Virginia high school student was shot and killed Saturday for doing a TikTok door knock prank. 27-year-old Tyler Chase Butler was charged Tuesday with killing 18-year-old high school senior Michael Bosworth Jr. So in order to prevent another tragedy like this, how can families talk to their children to make them think twice? Family therapist Tom Kirsting joins me now. Tom, thank you so much for joining us to talk about this. I mean, this is every parent's worst nightmare. This 18-year-old thinks he's doing something innocent and funny. He winds up dead, and now 2 parents are in mourning and will never be the same.
It's so sad. I counsel, a lot of teenagers at my private practice, and I've had kids recently that tell me they do this. They go out and do the ding-dong ditch. But the real issue is with social media now, and especially young, vulnerable minds that are just trying to fit in. Kids, teenagers by nature like to do what everybody else does. They kind of follow the crowd. And it creates these trends. And, unfortunately, these things can end in tragedy. So parents really need to sit down and have conversations, talk to your kid about this situation, about the potential consequences of doing actions that teenagers do.
Yeah, what more can parents say, though? A lot of times when you're a teenager, the last people you want to hear from are the adults in your life, like the parents and the teachers.
That's true. That's very true. So it's got to start young. We have to get back around the dinner table, with our children at a young age. Raise them the right way, raise them with values, have deep, meaningful conversations with them so that we prepare them when they reach adolescence, to be better decision makers.
Yeah, and also maybe raise them with self-confidence. I mean, build up your kids so that they don't follow the crowd and they feel like they can be their own individual.
I'm so glad you said that because I talk about that all the time. We hear anti-bullying, anti-this, anti-so-and-so. What if we teach pro-confidence? Now, a kid that is confident, truly confident, not an easy task, it becomes relatively immune, to have to do what everybody else does, getting involved with, doing drugs and things like of that nature, or drinking. But it's really, really an important thing. It's hard to drive that message, but we have to lead by example.
Yeah, and there are just so many of these challenges out there, these social media things. Like there's one called the Skull Breaker Challenge, the Blackout Challenge, where people were choking other kids to get them to pass out. The Benadryl challenge, remember the Tide Pod thing? Oh, like every day it's something new, and that's part of the problem because it's hard for parents to keep up with it all.
Yeah, and the kids are they're spending their lives in front of these devices. I'm doing a lecture later this morning, for high school students about I've been talking about screen time, mental health for many years, and but interestingly, I remember being on here years ago talking about that Tide Pod challenge. I mean, think about that. Think about what a teenager that they're actually going to ingest something that can kill them.
I know, yeah. But that's the way of the world right now. So it's why.
Okay. All right. So what do you all think about that? Before I continue, what do you all think about that? Okay. Do you all think the man who shot the boy should be arrested? Do you all think that the man who shot him should be arrested? Because that sounds like he was standing your ground. But here's the thing. They don't actually have a stand your ground law in Virginia where this occurred at. Okay, Virginia doesn't have a formal stand your ground law, but what they do have is they operate under a very similar principle to stand your ground. Okay, for example, individuals aren't required to retreat before using self-defense, including deadly force. So basically, if a person reasonably believes that they're in imminent danger or harm or death or anything like that, then it's supported by case law in Virginia. Okay, and it's also a version of the Castle Doctrine. Okay, which grants immunity to those who use force to defend themselves or others against harm. Okay, and this man was at his own home. Okay, he was at his own home. And so they basically say there's no duty to retreat in Virginia's legal framework. Okay, while they don't specifically have a stand your ground law, you do not have a duty to retreat. And let me say this, a lot of people are mad and upset that this black man shot this white teenager. At the end of the day, prayers and condolences to his family, friends, and loved ones. But the man obviously felt that he was in danger. Okay, you think he got up that morning and said, "Hey, if somebody knocks on my door or somebody kicks my door, I'm gonna kill them"? No. So clearly, I'm sure he didn't want to do it. But let us go back and revisit something. Do you all remember this? You see, sometimes. Let's Go Free says, Queen, they kicked his back door. They never ding dong ditch at the back door. Are you serious? It was the back door? Wow. So that further makes me think they were up to something nefarious, beloved. Thank you for that information. And thank you for the contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. I appreciate you. So you mean to tell me they were at the back door? No wonder he got shot. You come knocking on my damn back door, you're going to get the same. Because I'm going to bring Mr. Smith and Mr. Weston, and we all three going to greet you simultaneously. Okay, please miss me with it. Are you serious? Are you serious? So with that all being said, you know what? Here's the thing. That lie about the TikTok, that was their cover story. Please pay attention. That was probably their cover story. Hold on. Now y'all saying it was 3 o'clock in the morning. Hold up. I know this better not even be true. Let me look up further details. This is all crazy. I'll look it up in a minute. But before I do, I want you all to pay attention because, like I said, people who don't look like him are upset that he shot this young man. But do you all remember this story that I reported on about 3 weeks ago? Hold on. It may not have even been that long ago, about 2 weeks ago. Y'all remember this? Y'all remember this story right here with a little black girl, 9 years old. Went and rang that white man's doorbell. He got her on cam, ring door cam. And then said that he should have shot her, or he would have shot her. That's what he said. She was out there trying to sell candy. Now, mind you, she's 9 years old. These teenagers are like 18. What 18-year-old is playing ding dong dash? That's something people play in middle school. Okay? Now look at this. This is what the man said. For those of you who missed it, he said, "You're lucky you weren't home. You're lucky we weren't home to shoot your dumb ass, dumb bitch." That's what he said to a little child. That's what he said to a little child. And I want you all to pay attention to something that's very important for Black people to know and understand. These people who are racist, any racist person that doesn't look like us, do you really think they give a darn how old the person is? Do you think they care if it's a little child? Like the lady, Shiloh Hendricks, who called the little 5-year-old autistic Black boy the N-word, some Black people act like they were so flabbergasted, so shocked, like they just couldn't believe that she would do such a thing to a child. Did they forget that Emmett Till was a child? He was 13 years old, 13 or 14. Okay? Do you think they care? Weren't babies fed to alligators for bait? Do you think they care about how old a Black child is when they don't like people who look like us? They don't care at all. Okay? They don't care at all. He said he would have shot that little girl, 9 years old. And then I want you all to pay attention to how he tried to frame the narrative. He said that there was another child acting as a decoy, or no, said that there was another child lurking and she was acting as the decoy. That's what he said. A 9-year-old decoy, really? To justify his own racist and nefarious actions. Okay? So they didn't complain about that, did they? So don't complain about this, is all I'm saying. Don't complain about this. Call out the boy for what he was wrong about. He shouldn't have been at that man's door. What about 16-year-old Ralph Norrow? Do you all remember that? I reported on that story about 2-3 years ago. Ralph Yarrow was 16 years old, went to pick up his sister and cousin, knocked on the white man's door, and that man shot him. Luckily, he lived, even though he was shot in the head. He had to run down the street to get help. He had to run down the street to get help. So, you know, like Malcolm X said, sometimes the chickens come home to roost at the end of the day. And speaking of that woman at the park on the playground that called that little boy the slur, let's get into it because I have an update on that story. So let's get into it. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance. Now, a woman who called a Black child a slur has raised a backlash, but also tons of money. A video showing a Minnesota woman at a playground admitting to using a racist slur against a Black child has garnered millions of views. Okay, and she's gotten a whole bunch of money, so let's just go to it. And here's the reason why she's gotten all this money, as far as I'm concerned, because the racist people that don't like people who look like us have given her this money, basically, and you know, to try to get back at us for the money we donated to Carmelo Anthony. You see, they were so butthurt and bothered by that. Okay, that this is why they gave her more money. At the end of the day, it's like a competition now. And so you know what I think we should do? I think that we should donate money to this man who shot this teenager who he thought was breaking in his house. I think we should start a GoFundMe or GiveSendGo for him. That's what I think. What do y'all say? Once in the chat if you agree. I think we need to gather up money for his defense. If they charge him, let's wait and see. I mean, they've already charged him, but let's see if they dismiss the charges, because right now they're still investigating the incident. So if after their investigation, they do not say that he was acting in self-defense or he was protecting his home and property because he felt he was in imminent danger, if they say they're going to charge him with murder, manslaughter, okay, whatever, we should also donate money to him. That's what we're going to do, period. Okay, it's on now, because at the end of the day, the games are over. Okay, they want to donate people to devils like Derek Chauvin and, you know, Zimmerman. Well, we're going to start donating to. Okay, they're going to see it every time. That's what they're going to see. They're going to see it every time. It'll be tit for tat. Okay. Mel C says, just like Childish Gambino said, this America. Unfortunately, for now, we are outnumbered and not united. Exactly, beloved. Okay, and I'm not too sure we're outnumbered. Okay, I think they lie about the numbers, but at the end of the day, we definitely are not united, and we need to be. It is imperative for our survival, Black people. It is imperative for us to unify. Okay, it is a must. All right. So that all been, thank you, Mally C, for your contribution, beloved, and your insight into the topic. Peace, love, and blessings. I appreciate you. Okay, so now let's go to this video, because like I said, they donated all this money to this woman, honey, thinking they're going to tick us off. I really don't care how much money they donated to her. At the end of the day, she's still a devil. That's not going to change anything. But they're also donating money. They're collecting money for the little child too, as well.
What happened today?
Well, the context here is it started last week with a video that was posted on social media and went viral of a confrontation at a playground in a park here in Rochester, the Soldier Field, that park down there. And there was a woman here that, and this video, I'm told, was taken by a witness, somebody else, but that she apparently got upset because accused a 5-year-old of trying to steal something from her child's diaper bag. That in the video, she's accosted by this witness saying, "Did you call that little boy the N-word?" And it kind of escalates from there. I just saw the video here a few minutes ago, and this interplay then, it really raised a lot of emotions, obviously, around here. And so that led to this rally here that you saw earlier today. It started at noon. It went for a while, and then there was a short just kind of march around the government center here. Now is wrapped up, in which, there's a number of things at play here in the kind of the emotional response to this. One is they're upset because the woman at the in the video at the center of this then started a fundraising campaign on Give, Send, Go, and raised $600,000 there, in which she said that's for her own legal defense. That's also for her own safety, that she's been getting threats that she may have to move, protect her family. Well, then people are upset that they view her as maybe trying to profit off of what occurred. It's unclear exactly what the situation is. I talked to the mayor here too, and she said, yeah, it's unclear. The police have been doing their work all the weekend trying to talk to witnesses, figure this out. This morning forwarded it to the city. And online, the donations that she's
Okay, I've heard enough from him because his voice is kind of monotone. He's going to put me to sleep if he keeps talking. Okay, so I'm going to go to another video where the actual man who video recorded the incident, he speaks in one of these videos I have. So Mally C, thank you so much for gifting the channel 5 memberships, beloved. I appreciate you. Everyone shout out Mally C. She just gifted memberships to the channel. Everyone be sure to thank her, especially those of you who get the memberships. Thank you, beloved. Now let's go to this next report.
Hour, the Factor Uncensored. A woman in Minnesota has raised over $1 million asking for protection for her family after she went viral in a video where she admitted to calling an autistic Black child the N-word. Her name is Sh0t Hendricks. She says her family has been in jeopardy since the video went public. As of tonight, that GoFundMe page is no longer available, so we're not sure what happened to the money, if she removed it or what. Here's the latest and the moment Hendricks was confronted on video.
That little kid, you call him the little child?
What if he acts like one? He's gonna.
Are you about to hit him? You chase him here?
He took my son's stuff.
So that gives you the right to call the child 5-year-old an N-word.
If that's what he's gonna act.
That's
like.
what you're gonna call him.
That's what he's gonna act like.
That's a hate speech.
The question is this our America? My next guest is Dante King, author and human resource management consultant. He shares his take on this situation.
Make it make sense, Dante.
We're talking about an orientation, an anti-Black orientation that has been trained in, not only that this woman is inspired to act out this type of ill will and hatred toward this Black individual, but that she has support, that it inspired people to then contribute to her cause to protect her. And so we see the ongoing use and manipulative power that can be wielded by white women where a 5-year-old child is concerned, and that there is also trained into this society where Black people are concerned, a lack of empathy and compassion.
And really quick, Dante, before we go on,
Tell us what she accused the child of doing that prompted her to call him the N-word.
Well, she claimed or alleged that the child had taken something from her child's bag, her child's baby
diaper bag.
Yeah, and yet that was not necessarily proven, or it was not a statement of fact. It was a statement of her perception. And so even if that was the case, though, we're talking about a 5-year-old child who innocently may have picked up something that they thought was engaging, that they wanted to potentially maybe play with, or they thought was interesting. And yet the immediate impulse in this position is to go to anger. And so we have to understand too, where the use of that N-word is just where the use of that N-word is placed in our culture, in our society, in the ways in which it's been programmed as a very hateful, derogatory term that we use, or that has been used rather, against African-American people, that was the go-to for this woman. She went to anger. She didn't go to, oh, you want me to show you how to play with this toy? This was a child. No. So we have to understand that this is a very sustained, hateful orientation, corrupt and perverse psychological orientation that has been trained into white people in this country. And it has.
And would you say all white people or some white people? What?
I say in my book that we are all suffering from a collective psychosis, because from the founding of this country, and really from the entrance of European people into the Americas during the colonial period, we have been under the cultural domination, the institutional domination and control of people who have now, for centuries, characterized themselves as white. And so everything that we learn, everything that we believe is based on their cultural orientation, their social and sociological orientations. And we also, if you go back to the colonial period, if you read my book, I give dozens of examples where American institutions, even academic institutions, were leveraged to target Black people, even to the degree that Harvard, William and Mary College, Yale, Columbia, these institutions produced philosophies to prove Black inferiority, right? That we were inferior morally and intellectually. And so we have to understand that the anti-Black orientation has been trained into all of us, even including Black people. And I take that to task in my work. I think it's a problem that sits mostly with white people, because they juxtapose their entire identity against the fact that they are more superior than people who are characterized and labeled as Black. And as Toni Morrison put it, if you need another person to put down in order to feel a sense of value and worth, then something is seriously wrong. And so we have to contend with these realities and look at them deeper than just calling it out as racism or ignorance or hatred. This is psychopathological.
All right. Dante King, who is a human resources management consultant and author of the book, and you can see the book right there behind him. Always good to have you on the.
Okay, so with that all being said, he's absolutely right. Okay, he is absolutely right about the psychopathology of it all. Okay, so listen, guys, I'm dropping a link into the chat because I'm coming back at 2:30. Please pay attention. I'm coming back at 2:30 because you all, guess what? Tom Brady is a lying sack of you know what? Skip Bayless came and dropped receipts on him. He absolutely sabotaged Shakur Sanders, and we're going to get into it. Okay, we are going to get into it at 2:30. There's the link. I just dropped it. Okay, please make sure you tune in. Okay, Truth Over Everything says they mad at how they are now suffering with us. Okay, because Trump's doing them dirty too, much to their chagrin. Okay, their brilliant IQ people in power crashed the world and killed middle class. They want to blame and kill us. They don't control anything. Their people did. Exactly. Don't blame us. Okay. Panther Strike said, and Boomer Esiason too, Queen. Okay, you know I'm not going to leave him out, honey. You know I'm not going to leave him out. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, let's go to the video where the man who actually recorded the incident says that he too is being threatened. Okay, He's being threatened because he made the video and exposed this woman. Okay, so let's get into it. And then we got to talk about Tyre Nichols. The officers who killed him all got off. All acquitted, honey. Please pay attention.
A disturbing incident at a park in Rochester is getting national attention.
Community members say it is just the latest in a string of racial incidents.
We protect our children. We demand accountability.
Rochester residents are calling for action after a video of a woman's racist rant went viral. Uba Ali was there as they turned pain into purpose.
That viral video reigniting a conversation about racial equity here in Rochester as dozens of people packed inside this theater demanding accountability, justice, and real change.
We will not let a 5-year-old suffer while grown women profits from hate.
The footage captured by Shamarki Omar and shared by countless others.
To see a 5-year-old child be called that word was very shocking.
Shows that woman calling Omar the N-word several times.
Okay. All right, that's what you say.
Before admitting to using the racial slur against that child.
Call him a the little child?
What if he acts like one?
Since that encounter, Omar says he's received death threats and had to leave his home after his personal information was leaked.
My life has been turned upside down.
Omar says he's frustrated that's happening to him while the woman in the video is profiting. The woman named Sh0t started the fundraiser to protect her family. She's raised more than $700,000.
I ain't surprised.
The city's anger turned into action.
We will never stop being an inclusive community because of a few sourpusses in our community.
At a community meeting hosted by the Rochester branch of the NAACP.
So we are demanding accountability. We are demanding charges.
Sending a clear message that hate will not go unchecked.
At the end of the day, these kids is our future. And if we don't stir them in the right direction, they're going to be sitting in the same seat that we sitting in right now.
Rochester police say they have concluded their investigation and have forwarded the case to the city's attorney's office. In Rochester, Uba Ali, WCCO.
Okay, isn't that a whole hot mess? Okay, but now, listen, I almost forgot about this story. We have to talk about the man who shot a DoorDasher. Okay, this is him right here. He shot the DoorDasher. The DoorDasher was apparently lost and was looking for directions, just trying to get help because his phone had died. And he shot him. Okay, I want y'all to what is wrong with people? Let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, here we go.
A DoorDash worker drove down this driveway Friday, apparently looking for help, only to be met with gunfire. A town of Chester elected official now accused of shooting him.
My heart goes out to the driver.
State police say the 24-year-old DoorDash delivery driver had been trying to drop off food on Valerie Drive, but his phone died. He went up to several homes to ask for directions before eventually approaching the home of Chester's highway superintendent, John Riley III. Troopers say Riley told the driver to get off his property before firing multiple shots as he attempted to drive off. The 48-year-old, who also is a federally licensed firearms dealer, hit the victim in the back. Patricia Warmbrand lives across the street.
He's a good person, so I don't know what happened. It was unfortunate, and we're sorry for the whole situation.
Family members of the victim tell Eyewitness News he had just moved to nearby Middleton a month ago from West Africa and doesn't speak English.
There's nothing to indicate that the victim had any nefarious intentions. He was just out there doing his job, trying to make a food delivery.
In a statement, the town supervisor said, quote, "We are deeply troubled by what has been reported so far. As an elected official, the town board does not have control over Mr. Riley's future as highway superintendent." And DoorDash responding, saying, "No one should ever fear for their safety just for trying to make deliveries in their neighborhood. We're devastated by this senseless act of violence." Riley was arrested the next day and charged with assault as well as criminal possession of a firearm. The victim is still in the hospital but recovering. He says, though, he is traumatized.
And who wouldn't be? And I want you all to pay attention because what now? I'm sorry. They said that he, hold on. I'm going to go to another video where they actually show the dasher at one of the doors in the neighborhood. But isn't this absolutely crazy that they only charged him with assault, not attempted murder? He shot someone who was leaving just as he was asked to do. He was going to his car when he was shot in the back. He was fired at multiple times. How in the hell is that just assault? That was attempted murder. Do y'all see how they do this? But they want to charge Carmelo Anthony with first-degree murder. Okay, please pay attention, honey. This, oh my Lord, honey, I just cannot with these people. Okay, so let me go to the next video. This is absolutely nefarious.
We're starting tonight with exclusive new video. This shows the moments before a DoorDash driver was allegedly shot by an official in Orange County. Our Blaze Gomez is standing by State Police headquarters tonight in Middletown. And Blaze, what are authorities saying?
Nikita, well, everyone wants to know what the motivation could be in all of this. And tonight, State Police said they are looking into the possibility this crime was motivated possibly by hate. But first, we have that exclusive video to show you, showing the moments before that driver was shot.
The 24-year-old dasher was lost. When police say he was seen here Friday night in Chester, going door to door with a bag and his cell phone in hand. We traced the dasher's steps to get this video from one of the houses he went to before police say he was shot in the Valerie Drive neighborhood in Orange County.
He did stop at our house, and I thought maybe my wife had ordered DoorDash. He didn't seem to speak that good of English.
Authorities say the victim ended up at this house, where he was allegedly shot multiple times by Chester Highway Superintendent John Riley and hit once in the back inside his car while trying to leave. Riley is facing assault and weapons charges. Authorities say the victim drove home to Middletown for help while seriously injured and bleeding. The dasher's family didn't want to talk on camera, but told me his cell phone was dead and that he stopped at this gas station along the way to charge it, enough to tell them he was shot. State police say evidence shows the dasher was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time.
There's nothing to indicate that the victim had any nefarious intentions. He was just out there doing his job.
The dasher's family says he moved here from West Africa about 6 months ago and had only been a DoorDash driver for a month. They say he remains in the hospital in serious but stable condition. That's the latest here in Middletown.
Shot him in the back. That poor young man, okay? My prayers for his speedy recovery. Okay, this is absolutely egregious. He looked like he was white, too. So that man just must be the devil himself, okay? Richie says he looked about as threatening as my small, cute dog. Okay? I mean, why would you shoot somebody like that? Right, Stallworth one said wrong place. That's exactly what I said. Honey, don't make that the excuse. It wasn't that he was in the wrong place. It's that he came across a psychopath. Okay? Pretty Wing said the charges need to be upgraded. Absolutely. Okay, this is all so sad. Mally C says, I'm sorry, but if you're afraid of Black people or people in general, you should not hold an official office. Exactly, beloved. I agree. Just low down and dirty. Okay, thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, Miss AP said, poor choice of words. I definitely agree, beloved. Okay, Truth Over Everything says, it seems to be that they have been given a directive to shoot any of us on sight. Can anyone say the purge has started? Okay. Terry Hen said, hate crime too, Queen. Exactly. Exactly, a hate crime, honey. This is also egregious. Okay, so now let's talk about Tyre Nichols, because those thugged out officers, look at them. Look at them. They look like us, but they took that young man's life. Okay, they took that young man's life. I mean, you know, but talking about the other story, speaking about the other story, it's just a sad shame that you can't just knock on somebody's door these days. Okay, I just find that absolutely egregious. Okay, so the officers were all acquitted. That's very interesting. Okay, I definitely didn't expect that to happen. But let's go to the video of Tyre Nichols' mom. No, I'm going to go to the family press conference. I'll just go to the press conference, and we'll skip through. We don't have to listen to all of it. Okay, here we go.
Shift gears back to the National Civil Rights Museum.
And we understand that Tyre Nichols' family has arrived there. Let's take a look.
Gave the sixth haymaker to Tyre Nichols. Yesterday, Tadarius Bean, Justin Smith, and Demetrius Haley gave another kick, a deadly kick, to Tyre Nichols and his family. But we stand with this family to lift this family up in prayer and to call on the God of justice to deliver real justice for Tyre Nichols. But we were not under any illusion yesterday or last week in trial with an all-white jury from Hamilton County in Chattanooga. We were not under any illusion. But it just wasn't any white jury from Hamilton County. It was the most racist and the most redneck jury that they could have ever found to preside over this case in the matter of justice for Tyre Nichols. It is what it is. The prosecution, they did their job.
Yes, they did.
But when you still live in America that they don't see black people, they see police and they see blue.
Right.
And yesterday was a result of an America that has not changed. And it seems like we're living in a world, we're living in America that's not going to change.
Preach. Preach. And here's the thing, beloved. Here's the thing, beloveds. Let me say this. Now, we all should know that if Tyre Nichols had been a white man and those 5 officers did that to him, honey, they would absolutely be going to prison. Okay? If they had murdered a white man, they would be in prison. They'd be headed to prison right now. They only got off because their victim was black like them. They don't care if the police kill black people, period. We all know what time it is.
The whole world cried out for Tyre Nichols.
Yes, it did.
This city cried out for Tyre Nichols in sincerity. But we had a few folks who had some crocodile tears.
That's right.
We had a few folks who had a few fake tears. We had a few folks in the city of Memphis that represent the city of Memphis, like Mayor Paul Young. Oh, you're not getting off the hook today, sir. You're not getting off the hook today, sir. We came to call you out today.
That's right. That's right. Faking like he cares.
We came to call out Chief of Police CJ Davis. You're not getting off the hook today.
She need to be fired. Fire CJ.
If you're real and you love Tyre, you don't need no goddamn prompter.
Come on,
You don't need no script.
Exactly.
And go on social media and talk about your care and concern for Tyre Nichols and these citizens. Mayor Young, if you love Tyre Nichols, you would have got rid of CJ Davis. It's her unit that she brought from Atlanta and created the Scorpion unit right here in Memphis, Tennessee, that produced a Tadarius Bean, a Justin Smith, a Demetrius Haley, a Emmett Martin. Huh? It is her that produced that.
Yes. And fail the training.
My Lord. So we don't need no crocodile tears from leadership. We need real change, real love, real support in the city of Memphis. This city is hurting. It's not hurting from the lack of money. It's not hurting from the lack of education. It's not hurting from the lack of DEI. It ain't hurting from that. What this city is hurting from is from the lack of love.
Yes.
But what is love? We need love in leadership, not political BS.
That's right. Say
So, as Attorney Crump said to the city of Memphis, no matter what you do, you cannot.
Ready to join the booming cruise industry? Become an Expedia Cruises franchisee. You'll be part of the Expedia brand.
Wash the blood of Tyre Nichols off your hands. The blood of Tyre Nichols is on this city. Mayor Young inherited the blood of Tyre Nichols. You got to ask yourself, what are you going to do? Because the ball is in your court now to deliver a measure of justice for the family of Tyre Nichols.
Yes, sir.
You know, this judge, in my humble opinion, he should have never permitted the defense to bring in certain things that was in Tyre Nichols' car.
Yeah.
It was absolutely irrelevant to the case.
Irrelevant.
But it's okay, because Ms. Rovan and Pop, when we went to get the car from the city pound, Tyre Nichols' car, and we looked in his car, I looked at his car, and the first thing I looked in his rearview mirror. And he had an emblem on the rearview mirror that said, Black Lives Matter.
Wow.
Tyre loved his own black life.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Tyre Nichols was a humanitarian. Tyre Nichols was a man who loved humanity. We witnessed a jury that had no love for Tyre Nichols' black life. They actually didn't give a damn about Tyre Nichols' black life.
Or his mother.
But we give a damn about Tyre Nichols' black life. We love Tyre Nichols. And not only do we love Tyre Nichols, God loves Tyre Nichols. And for the life of me, God did not allow Tyre Nichols to be beaten to death by these black officers, these 5 black officers. His life is not in vain. And it's interesting that those 5 black officers, Tyre Nichols' black life didn't matter to them.
Come on.
Tadarius Bean, Justin Smith, Demetrius Haley, justice don't sleep.
That's right.
You have not escaped justice. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that justice will lie down with you. Justice will get your babies. You all have not gave any remorse to that brutal beating that you gave to Tyre Nichols. You haven't given any remorse to this family, to Miss Rovan, to this family. And until you atone to God for that brutal beating that you put on Tyre Nichols, Tadarius Bean, Justin Smith, Demetrius Haley, until you atone to God for that brutal beating that you gave Tyre Nichols and took his life, until you atone to this woman for taking the life of her son, who screamed when he was 200 feet from his front door. He cried out 3 times to his mama. Until you atone to that woman, you will have no justice.
No justice.
No justice and no peace in your life.
No peace. No peace.
Right now, the chastisement of God is over them. They may have gotten off by an all-white jury, but there's an all-wise God that is here to deliver justice for this family. And city of Memphis, be careful in how you handle this family, because you're responsible for what happened to Tyre Nichols. You're responsible. The blood is on your hands and you cannot wash it off.
Okay, so now I'm going to play what his mother had to say, okay? And then I'm going to close out the broadcast. But don't forget, beloveds, that I'm going to be back at 2:30 so we can talk about Skip Bayless exposing Tom Brady's lies about Shador Sanders, okay? And I have some other stuff that I'll be showing you along with that, okay? So please pay attention. 2:30, the link is in the chat. Okay, now let's hear what his mother has to say.
The woman that we call Rowan Wells, who this family has affectionately adopted as Mama Ro. All right. Please receive Mama Ro. All right, all right.
And before she starts, let me say this. My question is, how do they always end up getting these all-white juries? Has anyone in the United States ever seen an all-black jury? Have you ever seen an all-black jury? No, you haven't. You've never even heard of it, okay? Because they would never do that, especially if it was a white person on trial, okay? They wouldn't do it if it was a black person on trial because they think the black people would let the black person off. But they definitely wouldn't do it with a white person on trial because they think an all-black jury would definitely find them guilty. But it's okay for them to have all-white juries. This country's been doing this forever, okay? But they'll never have 12 black people sitting on a jury at the same time. Please pay attention.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you to each and every one of you who are coming out today to be here with our family. Yesterday was a devastating blow to our family. What we heard was not something that we wanted to hear. But was I shocked or surprised? No. I wasn't. Those defense attorneys were allowed to go in front of the judge and basically tell the judge that even though this happened in Shelby County, that the people of Shelby County was not smart enough to look at the evidence and make an impartial decision. So they were allowed to go into another county where I feel that county, Hamilton County, didn't give a rat's butt about my son. They were allowed to come here and look at the evidence, but they didn't see the evidence. What they saw was a black man running from the police.
That's what they saw.
What they saw was a black man running from the police.
Say it.
They didn't care that my son was afraid for his life. They didn't care that even though they're not from here, they didn't realize that people were going around dressing up as undercovers and carjacking people. They didn't know that because they weren't from here. So those people were allowed to come in here, look at the evidence, and deny the evidence, and give out a not guilty plea on each count. Yesterday, I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what to think. We have gotten so much injustice from this city.
Say that.
That is ridiculous.
Say that.
My son was murdered.
That's right.
By 5 Memphis police
That's right.
officers.
Murder.
He was murdered.
Murder.
And 3 of them got off. Because those jurors decided not to look at the evidence, but only to look at the fact that my son was a black man running from the police. You know, on the night that my son was murdered, a lot of you don't know, but I felt my son's death in my stomach. I didn't realize all that pain that I was feeling, but it was my son's life being taken away from me that night. And when they read that verdict yesterday, that was them taking my son's life away from me again.
Yes, it was.
Justice for Tyre. Justice for Tyre.
Okay, so that was very emotional and hard to listen to and very sad. My sincere prayers and condolences to Tyre Nichols' family. May he rest in paradise. And let me tell you all something. They absolutely changed the venue, and it took them to Hamilton County because they were more certain they could get an all-white jury there, okay, because of the population. So with that all being said, you know, I just really think that these things will continue to happen because, I mean, let's just face it, Black people will never get justice in this country. And if we do, it's going to be a long time away from now. Okay, those of us that are here right now, we probably won't even still be here to see it. So not in our lifetimes will we see justice for Black people. That's just what I think. And this is really sad that we're not living in Jim Crow, so they say, but we're treated as if we're still living in Jim Crow. Okay? So this is all nefarious at the end of the day. And I don't care if those officers are Black. They should have gotten the full brunt of the law. That's what they should have gotten. So anyway, it's just sad. You all, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. T Money says, saw a video of a white man pulled over by Highway Patrol. This man got out of his car with an assault weapon and nothing happened to him. Y'all already know what would have happened to a Black person. Absolutely. Well, listen. Beloved, I have shown a video on here numerous of times with a white man shooting and murdering 2 police officers at his home who confronted him and were about to arrest him for pulling a gun on 2 Black men that were riding their motorcycles. And he was upset about the noise. He shot them and killed them. When backup officers came, he came outside with the AR-15 and had a whole shootout with them. Okay? He was taken into custody alive. And the only reason he stopped shooting at the officers is because his gun jammed twice. The second time it jammed, he put his hands in the air, okay, to let them know he was giving up. If that had been a Black person, they would have still shot him. Because let's not forget how Michael Brown, down there in Ferguson, Michael Brown, they said there was a scuffle with the officer. Maybe there was. I wasn't there to see it. But at the end of the day, Michael Brown was on his knees with his hands in the air when he was shot. In his head, I do believe. So please pay attention. You see, if you're a Black person, even if you decide to give up, and surrender and put your hands in the air, you could still get shot and killed. Okay? Let's not forget how many Black people have been shot under their arms, in their armpits. Why is that? Because they had their hands in the air. Okay, and that specifically was going on during the time of the Black Panther Party. Okay, how they were taking out Black folks. So please pay attention to this. This is a nefarious country that we live in. Okay, and I don't see it getting any better anytime soon. Okay, so Black people need to stop acting like, because some of these Black people that say things like, "Oh, I can't believe that happened to me." Why can't you believe it happened to you? Aren't you Black? Anything that happens to one Black person in this country can happen to any Black person in this country. And that's what we as Black people must always remember and never forget. So with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. I love you all to life. I hope you enjoy the rest of this day. And don't forget to be back at 2:30 to talk about Sh0t's standards, okay? So I love you all to life. Until next time, beloveds, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, above all else, keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
With that gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. That's See right. A bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got